If you own a gun in America, listen carefully. The November court ruling that expanded your rights also created legal traps that could ruin you overnight. Everyone is celebrating the new freedoms, but almost nobody is talking about the dangerous flip side. These same 10 changes that gave you power also created strict boundaries that will crush anyone who steps even an inch out of line. One wrong move under these new rules could cost you your freedom, your firearms, and your future. Hit subscribe right now because what you don't know about these changes is far more dangerous than what you do. Here are the 10 traps every gun owner must avoid immediately. Chapter 1. Heightened Judicial Review Consequences. This change sounds like a win, but there's a hidden penalty spike no one's talking about. Strict scrutiny means the government must justify gun laws at the highest standard. But here's the catch. If a gun law survives strict scrutiny, courts treat it as absolutely essential and punish violations brutally. A man in Colorado once got 6 months probation for violating a magazine limit. Now that the law is under strict scrutiny, the same violation carries 2 years in federal prison. Courts are saying, if a restriction is important enough to survive strict scrutiny, breaking it deserves maximum punishment. Chapter 2. Conditional Immunity Limitations. You're protected from lawsuits only if your self-defense action is 100% lawful. And after this ruling, that line is razor thin. One questionable element, one tiny mistake, and your immunity evaporates. A man in Arizona shot an intruder. Clear self-defense, but he fired a warning shot first, which is illegal in that state. Boom. Immunity gone. Now he's facing criminal charges and a $2 million lawsuit. A woman in Tennessee defended herself legally, but her permit had expired 3 weeks earlier. She lost everything: house, savings, and 18 months of freedom. This immunity is all or nothing. Chapter 3. Officer Liability Pressure. Officers can now be personally sued for violating your gun rights. Sounds great, right? Until you realize what that means, officers will arrest first, justify later. They're protecting themselves, not you. Example: a Michigan officer stopped a driver who had a firearm. The driver had a photo of his permit but not the physical card. Under the new standards, the officer seized the gun, the car, and detained him 48 hours. Why? Because making the wrong call could get the officer sued personally. Now, officers are detaining more people, seizing more guns, and escalating more situations, just to cover themselves. Chapter 4. Validated Zone Penalties. Gun-free zones were cut by 80%. More freedom, but deadly consequences if you violate the zones that remain. Before, accidentally carrying into a restricted area, $500 fine, weapon confiscated. Now, those same areas have been legally validated under strict scrutiny. Violating them triggers federal charges and a 1-year mandatory minimum. A woman in California entered a public park within a school zone. She legally carried, but that zone is now critically restricted. She got 5 years in federal prison. Chapter 5. Accelerated Denial Protocol. States have 60 days to approve or deny your permit, or it's automatically granted. Sounds great until you realize the trap. States are now denying applications instantly for tiny errors. A man in New Jersey swapped 2 digits in his social security number. Instant denial. A woman in Massachusetts forgot 1 checkbox. Denied. Lost 2 months. States are weaponizing denials to avoid missing the 60-day deadline. Chapter 6. Outcome-Based Negligence Standard. You can now store ammo however you want. No more mandatory separate containers, but now prosecutors judge you only by the outcome. If someone gets access to your firearm, teen, guest, anyone, you face federal negligent storage charges with mandatory prison time. A father in Ohio legally kept his loaded pistol in a nightstand. His teenage son found it and was injured. The father is now facing 3 years in federal prison because reasonable precautions were not taken. Chapter 7. Real-time Transaction Monitoring. State gun registries are being destroyed. Freedom. No. States replaced registries with instant reporting. Every gun purchase is now sent to law enforcement within 24 hours. If your name triggers any hit, even something minor, detectives show up at your door. A Washington man bought a rifle Monday. Detectives knocked Wednesday, wanting to see the gun, the serial number, and his storage setup. His hit? An old DUI from 6 years ago. Chapter 8. Criminal Prosecution Escalation. ATF can't revoke licenses over paperwork errors anymore, so now they're treating every small error as a criminal offense. A Texas dealer once had his license revoked for simple record mistakes and got it back after appeal. Now that the ATF lost that option, they charged him with federal firearms trafficking for a similar error. He's facing 15 years. Chapter 9. Non-reciprocal state felony trap. Your permit now works in 42 states. Massive freedom. But the 8 states that don't honor your permit now treat violations as felonies. Before, accidental carry into New Jersey. Misdemeanor, fine. Plea deal. Now, it's a felony with a 3-year mandatory minimum. Because courts say you have no excuse when 42 states recognize your permit and 8 clearly don't. Chapter 10. Extended investigation detention. You can defend your home without fear after prosecutors prove you weren't justified, but that higher burden means investigators now treat every defensive shooting like a homicide. A Florida man once shot an intruder and was cleared in 20 minutes. Now, he'd be detained 48 hours, house searched, devices seized, neighbors interviewed, social media pulled. You're presumed justified, but you're still treated as a potential murderer until the investigation is airtight. These 10 changes expanded your rights, but created razor-thin boundaries that can destroy your life if you cross them. If this information saved you from a legal disaster you didn't see coming, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Share this with every gun owner you know, because these protections only work if people understand both the power and the danger they carry.